We learned previously that when the animal soul is involved in a mitzvah, the animal soul itself gets elevated from a place of klipas noga to kedusha, meaning from potential good to revealed good. From a place of the noga, the divine spark, within the animal soul being in a state of, concealed over by that klipa, to actually the noga, the divine spark being extracted, and the animal soul itself becoming a vessel for holiness. Thereby, when doing action-based mitzvahs, or as we learn, any mitzvah, since all mitzvahs are action-based, the animal soul gets a serious upgrade. But now our question is, what fuels the animal soul? Where is it getting the energy to do what it does? As the energy of the animal soul powers the mitzvah, so therefore, what's behind that? And the simple answer is the blood, right? The blood is what enlivens the animal soul. But where does the blood get its energy from? From the nourishment of the food and the drink and the different minerals that person consumes. So you guessed it. Through doing a mitzvah, you not only just elevate your animal souls, the animal soul is the one fueling the mitzvah, right? The soul can't move, the soul can't be active in this world. It needs the animal soul to allow the soul to access the body. And therefore, when you're doing a mitzvah, you're also elevating the food that you used to fuel your animal soul, as long as that food was kosher food. So if you had some nice kosher tacos, then as you're doing a mitzvah, those kosher tacos are being elevated to holiness as they are the fuel behind that mitzvah. So what do you think happens to, so just to say that idea clearly, the energy of the food becomes absorbed into the holiness of the mitzvah, which is the blessed infinite light. So really, it's revealed for what it truly is, a spark of divinity. And yeah, it's going to make you look at your broccoli very differently. And so the global mission here is that the entire world, the entire life force of Klipas Noga, which is anything permissible in this world, it gets elevated to the realm of holiness through it, first of all, fueling our animal souls, and then our animal soul being involved in the mitzvah. Meaning, even let's say you go outside and you enjoy the sunshine. And now the sunshine is part of what's giving your animal soul enough strength and energy and vitamin D to go do that mitzvah of calling a friend and checking in on them and maybe not feeling well and doing the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim, or the mitzvah of cooking for Shabbos, whatever is empowering your animal soul to do. Now it gets incorporated into holiness when that animal soul is doing the mitzvah. So anything that's kosher, that's permissible, and fueling your animal soul is going to be elevated to holiness. And therefore, through that, we ultimately elevate the entire world, as the entire world empowers our animal soul each in unique ways. So there's a story about a man, it's a Baal Shem Tov story, who found himself shipwrecked on an island. Don't ask how it happened, but he found himself there, okay? And he's looking around for something to eat, and he can't find anything to eat. And he's, he thinks that, okay, this might be the end of me. And he's wondering, what am I even doing here? How did any of this happen? And he's waiting for maybe a ship will come by, and he sees an orange tree. And he's so exhausted, but he crawls towards the orange tree. And he says with as much koach, as much power as he can muster, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. He says the blessing on an orange. And as he says the blessing, he slips a bit of orange juice into his mouth, and he eats the orange. He hears honk, honk, honk. He hears a ship going by, and he's rescued. He goes back to the town of the Baal Shem Tov. He returns home, and he's like, what was that crazy journey I just went on? And he said, since the beginning of creation, there's been this mission for you to elevate that exact orange. And by you going there and you saying that blessing in such a dire state, you elevated incredible sparks into the realm of holiness. And so really there's this idea of wherever I am, the reason I'm there is because there's something there for me to elevate. Now, we have good news, okay? The Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, taught very clearly in Chassidus that all the sparks are elevated. Meaning that, yes, when we interact with the place, we are still taking things into the realm of holiness. But the, so to speak, quota that the world needs of the amount of sparks to be elevated in order for the world to become a home for God, in order to have Mashiach, that quota has been fulfilled. So we can still have a mindset of when I'm going somewhere, I'm there for a mission, and I'm there to elevate 100%. But we shouldn't think that we're waiting to elevate sparks in order for Mashiach to come, because we have already fulfilled that global mission. Thank you for taking the time to learn today's Tanya together.